Tonight on To The Point.
I told my girlfriend to get the kids, get my daughter, and get out. I mean, there was nothing we could do.
A historic tropical storm causes flash flooding across California, and things aren't over yet. What's next as President Biden visits Maui. Maui's mayor says 850 people are still unaccounted for. And he's expected to live on the streets, the outrage over the pending release of a sexually violent predator. Thanks for joining us. This is To The Point. I'm Alex Bell, and we are live across the state covering the impacts of Tropical Storm Hilary. Is live in Palm Springs. Neighborhoods were flooded and are dealing with a lot of mud. We also have Jeannie Nguyen, who is live talking with local emergency crews in Southern California. And Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods is tracking conditions right here at home. Heavy rain pounded the foothills this afternoon. This is video in Forest Hill near the Mosquito Fire burn scar. There are flash flood watches in effect. Monica, what do people need to know?
Well, the rain's still coming down, as you mentioned, Alex, as Hilary continues to move its way up to the north and off to the east. The wraparound moisture affecting us with not only rain, but the instability left behind. Numerous thunderstorms popping up along the Sierra Spine. Now you can see over the fire burn scars there for Mosquito and Caldor, that flash flood watch continuing, and a few showers left over as well through parts of the Central Valley. We'll track that through tonight. But overall, the heaviest stuff is over for now, but we still have some isolated areas that are causing some problems. Flash flood warning in parts of Southern California, just off to the east of San Luis Obispo. That's in effect until 8:15 tonight, recording periods of thunderstorms rolling through the area. But here's the rundown of the record rain for Death Valley. It was an all-time record setter of 2.20 inches. Many places throughout Southern California hitting their all-time August high for amount of rain. As far as tonight, we're going to see that come to an end throughout much of California as that storm system moves off to the east. So we'll be left with basically a mix of sun and clouds for tomorrow. Alex will be tracking that storm as well as what's ahead for our local forecast coming up in just a minute.
Tropical Storm Hilary is the first tropical storm to hit Southern California in 84 years. Roads flooded and people were swept into rivers. There were even tornado warnings, and in the middle of all of it, a 5.1 magnitude earthquake struck Ojai in Ventura County. And near Palm Springs, people have been cleaning up a lot of mud from their neighborhoods. This is the senior neighborhood out in Cathedral City. It's believed about 60 homes were flooded, causing millions of dollars in damage. Our Andy Judson is live in Palm Springs tonight. Andy, you rode out this storm yesterday in the Palm Springs area. What did you experience out there?
Yeah, Alex, I'm coming to you a little bit more dry today than yesterday. And, you know, I've covered hurricanes on the East Coast before, but I've never experienced something like this in California. It was really a historic event, especially for me, just the sheer amount of water that was here in Palm Springs. It broke the record for the amount of rainfall in a single day. And we're still seeing that water aftermath of those flash floods right now. I want to show you a little bit where I'm at. I'm actually in the middle of a major roadway. You might not guess it, but take a look. You can see it's closed because it's completely washed out. And if you take a look over here, you can see the water is still flowing pretty steadily here. So that really shows just how much water is here in the desert. And of course, it's a desert town. People aren't really accustomed to this amount of water here. So it was definitely something that, you know, was surprising to me, but also surprising to a lot of the residents out here in Palm Springs and the surrounding regions.
What's next for people living in homes that were damaged by this tropical storm? What do they do?
Yeah, as you mentioned, we were out in Cathedral City today, and we spent our morning with a senior living facility or community out in a mobile home community out there. And a lot of them, it was around 60 homes that were flooded. They estimate it's between 3 to 5 million in damages. And a lot of them, you know, they're just kind of getting their bearings right now. They're clearing the debris, they're doing what they can, but they also are already having restoration folks come in. A big concern, especially for a senior community, is if you don't go in and fix it right away, it will continue to stay wet, and that could create black mold. So people are shocked, they're gathering themselves, but they're also taking those steps to make sure that they're safe and getting everything back together. Alex.
And Andy, please be safe out there. We'll see you back here soon. Andy Judson live in Palm Springs. Tropical storm Hilary threatened lives. This was a mudslide filled with boulders in San Bernardino County. Firefighters say they heard a loud noise, went outside, and that's when they almost got trapped. Firefighters ran to safety at their own fire station. Thankfully, no one was hurt. Local first responders are in Southern California tonight helping people recover from this storm. They also were sent to help with swift water rescues. Our Jeannie Nguyen is live at Sacramento Fire, sharing what crews have faced for these last 24 hours. Good evening, Jeannie.
Alex, the main concern with this storm was flooding, so that's why resources were sent from Sacramento Fire as well as a team from the Lathrop-Manteca Fire District. Now, speaking of the Lathrop-Manteca Fire District, a crew of 13 people were sent to Kern County this weekend ahead of the storm as they prepared for what was to come. Now, last night, as the rain started to pick up, a flood warning was issued for Kern County, and in coordination with Kern County Fire, the Swift Water Rescue Team went to work to make sure everyone was safe.
There's this one particular area they're working on today is to assist residents who willingly evacuate, to assist them across a shallow water crossing.
Fortunately, crews did not have to rescue anyone, but they will continue to be in the area to help people navigate through the excess water. Now, this team is a part of the California Governor's Office of Emergency Services, working together with the Manteca Fire Department and the South San Joaquin Fire Authority. Now, that team will continue to stay in Kern County as long as they are needed, but the fire chief did tell me that he expects the crew to be back by the end of this week. And as far as the Sacramento Fire crew, they are currently in Bishop, but it's still unclear when they will come back here to Sacramento. Alex, back to you.
All right, Jeannie, thank you. One question asks, does this tropical storm mean anything for our fire season? Typically, we have large wildfires this time of year. I spoke with a fire scientist at San Jose State University. Dr. Craig Clements tells me that all the rain will increase moisture in our fire fuels. This storm should help parts of California through early fall. He says that we are very lucky on how the weather played out this year. And coming up at 6:45, fires are devastating western states right now. Eastern Washington homes are destroyed, and the Seattle skyline looked like this today. There's new research into how devastating lightning can be for fires, even when it's accompanied by rain. In other news, a judge today postponed the criminal case against the father and son accused of starting the Caldor fire. David and Travis Smith appeared in court today, free on bail. An attorney for the Smiths says, quote, they didn't start the fire. The DA charged the Smiths with multiple counts of reckless arson, which carries a maximum sentence of 6 years in prison. The case is expected to pick back up again in October. A dead body was found in a stolen U-Haul van in Rio Linda. Sacramento deputies made the discovery while responding to a call for the van to be towed. This is now a homicide investigation. The person found inside the van had multiple gunshot wounds. North Davis Elementary School was evacuated today due to a bomb threat at nearby Mary L. Stevens Library. This is at 14th F and Oak Streets. The library was given an all about clear about an hour ago, and road closures are no longer in effect. Davis schools will be open tomorrow. And outrage continues over the pending release of a sexually violent predator in Placer County. People crowded a meeting with the Department of State hospitals today. William Stevenson is expected to be released from custody to live on the streets as early as next month. He was convicted of indecent exposure back in 1985. Then in 1991, he was convicted of sexual violence and was sentenced to 31 years. He was released in 2014, and 3 years later, he was allegedly caught with child pornography. The Placer County District Attorney spoke today about keeping Stevenson off the streets.
Heard from the report out in the meeting today that there was a location that was discussed today in closed session. We haven't been able to vet it. We're supposed to get that information 30 days before his potential release, and we are set for a court hearing within 10 days.
The district attorney says without a specified location, they are not prepared to discuss the idea of letting Stevenson out at this point. Coming up onto the point, Biden's message to Hawaiians and what's next for Maui as 850 people remain unaccounted for.
Still tracking rain in parts of the foothills and the Sierra. What flood watches and warnings are still out across the Intermountain West.
And our Social Security recipients getting a bonus payment next month. A grass fire burned more than 500 acres overnight. This was near Florin Road in South Sacramento County. A car caught on fire and caused this larger fire. Firefighters say that there were wind gusts up to 50 miles per hour, and it had not even started raining, and there could have been a lot more damage. Monica, winds are really kicking up from this tropical storm, and I mean, we're going to see rain and thunderstorms well into the evening, right?
Right. Well, actually, thunderstorms are coming to an end. We've been tracking that throughout the day, and as far as the winds, those were really most problematic during the morning, and shortly thereafter, we had the rain follow, and so firefighters were saying, thankfully, we had that rain to kind of dampen that fire. As you can see, a lot of showers and thunderstorms still occurring across the Intermountain West, but for us, we're starting to see a lot less lightning strikes. Good news there. It was very active earlier today. For the Caldor and the mosquito fires, still have that flood watch out as we head into tonight. But as the rain starts to taper off, we'll lose a lot of the risk of seeing those slides. Across much of the West, we've got flood watches and warnings out as what is left of Hilary marches its way north and eastward. As far as total rainfall, about 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch falling just since midnight. Nice to see the rain, and that helped keep the temperatures down as well. Highs today only in the 70s and 80s throughout the lower elevation, 60s up top for the Sierra. Slight chance of thunderstorms for tomorrow, mainly on the east side of the state, stretching through much of the Intermountain West. But for us, we're going to lose a lot of the cloud cover and the showers overnight tonight. Just a slight chance of those popping up in a very isolated area in the Sierra for tomorrow. Highs will be in the 60s. We're back in the 70s and 80s, even some 90s. Starting to move back into the forecast. 70s again along the coast as we head inland. We're back in the 80s and 90s, and that's going to be putting us pretty close to average, actually. It's going to feel a lot more like an August forecast moving through the rest of the week. More sunshine and more heat. Highs are back near 100 by Thursday.
Next, on to the point, Biden's message to Hawaiians. What's next for Maui as 850 people remain unaccounted for? Tonight, more than 800 people are still unaccounted for on Maui. 114 people have been confirmed dead, and just 27 have been identified. The last 2 weeks have been indescribable on the island. President Biden departed Lake Tahoe today to visit Maui and get his first look at the damage. He says the federal government will help officials rebuild the way the people of Maui want to rebuild. Just hours ago, President Biden and the First Lady toured the devastation on Maui on the ground and from the air. It's been 2 weeks since fires decimated the town of Lahaina. President Biden met with survivors and first responders to hear their stories and had this to say.
I want all of you to know the country grieves with you, stands with you, and will do everything possible to help you recover, rebuild, and respect culture and traditions when the rebuilding takes place.
Some survivors are questioning the government's response. They say they did not receive enough information as the wildfire approached.
There was a lot done wrong. I don't understand the decision not to sound the alarms.
Fire hydrants were reportedly out of water.
And they need water. That resource is so precious to us. So when they were running out, they were so disheartened.
Hawaii's Attorney General says a third-party private organization will investigate the state and county response to the wildfires. Officials say 85% of the destroyed area has been searched. And Maui's mayor says 850 people are still unaccounted for.
We're putting up flyers for my father, Joseph Lara.
Joy Richter's father-in-law died as her family was seeking shelter from the flames in the ocean.
And I saw my father-in-law face down, and I started just screaming his name at the top of my lungs.
Many people that live on Maui heavily rely on tourism dollars. Some have already left the island due to concern over a lack of future job opportunities. There is more than $5.5 billion in damage, and rebuilding, it will take years. There is a fire disaster in Washington state. At least 2 people are dead and homes are destroyed. Thousands of people have been forced out of their homes. This is an area named Medical Lake, not far from Spokane. Some people only had 20 minutes to run for their lives.
In 15 to 20 minutes, it went from, I think that they've got this handled, I'm sure that they can, to we got to go right now.
More than 35,000 acres are burned, and 2 wildfires, the Gray Fire and the Oregon Road Fire, are responsible for nearly 20,000 scorched acres alone. Seattle saw some of the worst air quality in the world today. It's not uncommon for lightning to spark fires in the summer. For example, back in 2020, Lake, Napa, Sonoma, Solano, and Yolo counties were devastated by the LNU lightning complex fires. And now new research suggests that dry lightning fires can start even when there is heavier rain in the picture. Tim Gordon reports.
The crack of lightning is sure to get your attention, and when it's not part of a deluge of rainfall, it can start a fire depending on where it hits. But now a new study led by Washington State University suggests the amount of rain that can fall during a fire-starting lightning strike is triple what was thought before.
Before, forecasters had this sort of rule of thumb amount, that's 1/10 of an inch of rain or less, and we found that in some situations and in some areas, there can be up to 1/3 of an inch of rain, and that will still start a fire.
That's important information coming out of the study of 4,600 naturally caused fires in the western U.S. from 2015 to 21. Newer technology allows for higher resolution results and better data.
So this shows the actual rainfall amounts during lightning-caused fires.
That's according to Dmitry Kalashnikov, who led the study. He expects it will help us get a better handle on dry lightning-sparked fires.
It will help anticipate fires when lightning is forecasted. By knowing how much rain can actually fall or not fall and have there be a lightning risk, forecasters and fire managers can be better prepared to deal with possible fires.
And hopefully get to them before they take off.
Earlier this month, nearly 60 fires were caused by lightning strikes in the mountains. Meanwhile, fire season is off to what is considered a slow start compared to recent years. It's due to our wet winter, spring, and now the remnants of Hurricane Hilary. It's been a busy day at the Fulton County Courthouse in Georgia. Lawyers for former President Trump negotiated an agreement ahead of his surrender on charges of election interference. The agreement includes a $200,000 bond and a pledge not to intimidate witnesses or co-defendants. Trump is expected to report to the county jail this week, where he will be fingerprinted and have his mugshot taken. Then the former president will be released on a $200,000 bond. It all comes as the Republican presidential candidates prepare for their first debate on Wednesday. But Trump now says that he won't be on that stage. The former president posting that he's leading the field by legendary numbers, adding, "The public knows who I am and what a successful presidency I had. I will therefore not be doing the debates." New polling in Iowa today shows former President Trump is a favorite for president. He holds a double-digit lead over Florida Governor Ron DeSantis among likely Republican caucus goers in Iowa. Trump has the support of 42% of respondents. DeSantis came in second with 19%. In this poll, it was conducted by the Des Moines Register, NBC News, and Mediacom. Millions of people who receive money from Social Security could get a second payment in September. But is it actually extra money? Brandon Lewis verifies.
Every month, 1 in 5 Americans receives a payment from the U.S. Social Security Administration. Typically, these are set payments that come like clockwork, but some recipients are wondering if they might get a bonus payment next month. So, let's verify. Will Social Security recipients receive a bonus payment in September? Our sources are the Social Security Administration and AARP. Social Security payments are sent out on a strict schedule. Most retirees get their payments on a set Wednesday each month, but those who receive supplemental security income, such as people who are disabled or blind and meet income qualifications, get their payments on the first of the month. This can be a problem if the first falls on a weekend when banks are closed, like on Sunday, October 1st, 2023. So the Social Security Administration will send out the payments the Friday before. In September, this means SSI recipients will get paid on September 1st and September 30th. But this isn't a bonus payment. They're just getting their October money one day earlier. So, no, Social Security recipients will not receive a bonus payment in September. AARP says all Social Security payments that would process on a federal holiday also get sent earlier. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Next, on to the point, turning a dangerous area of Sacramento into a place where people want to live, work, and shop. We always like to end the show on what we're working on, and this week I head out to South Sacramento's Mack Road. It's an area that has its issues with crime, but several people are invested in making it a place where people want to live, work, and shop. One of the key investments starts with the kids, so I'll take you inside the only community center around for miles.
The biggest need for our kids, along with food, of course, they want to be seen, they want to be heard, they want to feel important.
This Thursday, we introduce you to families and business owners who say that Mack Road is a place of hope and opportunity. And I want to say thank you to everyone who's reaching out to us, letting us know what's going on in your community. Keep your emails coming, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night. Hey, it's Alex. Just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. I really love hearing from everyone, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. Reach out to me on Facebook at AlexBellTV, or you can email me at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send me a text message at 916-321-3310.